Welcome to an episode 4 of An Entrepreneur in Training. Today we have a very special guest and one of my really good friends, Aaron Anderson. So go ahead and say hello.
How you doing? Thank you for having me on, brother.
Yeah, so he recently started a drone photography and videography business. He's very early in his career, obviously, still working and getting that first few customers, and he's also still working his way to getting his first few paid customers as well. He's still working through the steps as far as getting, free testimonials. He's doing a lot of work for free at the moment, but his work looks really good, and he's definitely building a good portfolio of good work to go ahead and start selling his business to other people and actually making some money. So obviously a part of this podcast is I really want people to get a good look at like the beginning of people's entrepreneurial journeys, just like mine and like Aaron's here. So this is Aaron, and his business is Anderson Airborne. So he does drone photography and videography. I'm just gonna let you briefly describe your business to the people. What do you do?
So right now I'm working on just recording and doing photography for real estate. That's like my main focus right now is trying to get some real estate clients. But overall, I can just do real estate. I can do personal events. I can do videos for like small businesses. I'm working on doing virtual tours with like a smaller FPV drone. You ever see the videos where they fly through the building and
Hmm.
stuff? I'm working on
Yeah.
that. Um, and then just like a broader field, like where I live at and my environment is good for land surveying. There's a lot of farmland where I'm at, so I'm planning on getting into that. But just like an overview, it's real estate, business promotions. I can do like commercial property and other things like that. And then video editing as well.
Yeah. So to break down your business all the way, so you have a drone and you fly it up and you fly it around, you take videos, you take pictures, and that's usually for someone who, is needing those. So a business would use your videos for like promotional material, or maybe,
Yes, sir.
a person would use would use your videos and stuff just, personally for, whatever they may need.
Right.
Sweet. So I guess we'll go ahead and just start to get into, I guess the depths of, your business as well as you. How did you actually get into drone photography specifically?
So drone photography was my first business that kind of like took off, no pun intended. But before that, I did like the cliche drop shipping thing. And then like before I did drop shipping, I was trying to do football. Eventually just football fell through. And then I was looking for anything to just make some money off of with a business. And I was looking around, and I was walking through Best Buy one day, saw a drone, and I didn't even know how I was going to make a business off it. But I was like, I bet you that would make good money. So it kind of just fell in my lap. And I've been making videos and stuff since I was a kid, just stealing the phone, making videos. And that's kind of how I came up with it.
So where exactly did Anderson Airborne come from as far as the name? Like, is that just, I guess that'd be your last name then, huh?
So the name, so I was just playing around with the names when you first come up with your business. I was just playing around with the names. You were there actually. So
Was, yeah,
we
in
were just
person.
tossing it around, and I think like the first thing I came up with was like bunch of stupid names. But the one that I liked was, I think it was Anderson Aerial, and then we looked it up and that domain was
Oh,
taken, and
yeah,
then
I remember
we
that.
just kind of like kept looking on the same field, and Anderson Airborne popped up. Domain was free, everything was available, and then I just kind of took what I could get. But I still
Yeah.
love the name, and I'm rolling with it. I plan on making it big with that name.
Yeah, just in the last podcast episode, I talked about creating a name for your business. And one of the main points I put out there was just using, your name as part of your business because it's so easy to just utilize, your first or last name in your business name.
True.
Um, so what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced so far as far as starting the business initially, or some of the first initial challenges that you faced personally when starting the business?
I'd probably just have to go with not knowing anything about business in general or drone photography or photography in general, just kind of just dropping myself in an ocean of, not knowing what I'm doing. But it all came down to my desire to know, and then just kind of finding the right information, who you can trust. I don't have a lot of people in my circle that enjoy business. So, and then you got to be careful with the information you get off the internet. So, and then another one was probably like marketing. I could be using my social platforms a lot more because people seem to like drone photography or just drone videography, no matter what it is. So marketing, I don't really know too much about marketing. I know you can find, there's endless information on the internet, endless books and stuff like that. getting clients and stuff, and just getting better at the craft in general. Like I said,
Yeah,
like I just
really.
kind of don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, what's most important in that situation is just really getting a good understanding of, the people who are looking for your services, And once you figure out who you're really trying to sell to, from there you can really figure out where are they looking? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on, where are these people and how can you find them and show them about your business and, get to the point where you're selling them. Sometimes you have to go in person to find these people, on a media business
Hmm.
like yours, sometimes you have to go where the people are doing things that they want recorded. So, I know if there's a few times you told me you went to some drag meets or car meets where people, are bringing their really nice cars to, and I
Yeah.
think that was a great idea because those kind of people love having pictures and videos of their car. Like that's
Right.
all they do. They love having all sorts of things about their car. So that's a perfect place to go to with your drone and right there walk up to them and say, here's a drone. I can shoot you a really cool video and it only costs you this much. And you could do that 100 times in one night, with all those different cars.
Mm.
So there's a lot of different
Yeah.
ways to obviously.
Now that I think about that, people kind of ate that up. The face to face is a lot easier for me personally, than doing stuff online. I'm sure if I
It's
was able to
definitely,
get a grip of what's going on online, I could just easily as do it.
it's definitely the easiest way to get your first customers because,
Yeah.
if you're right in their face, they have no reason to say no and they don't have to worry about looking elsewhere for maybe a more popular company if you're just right there in their face saying, this is what I've done, this is what I do, and you obviously might want it because you got your car out here and you're taking pictures of it already. So that's
Right.
definitely, as far as your marketing, struggles, there's definitely some outlets you could take. We've already talked
Mm.
about those together, but
Yeah.
if anyone's worried about how to get their first customer, how to get their first customers, you definitely just want to break down where the people are that you are wanting to sell to. For example, in lawn care, usually people who get lawn care are 35 plus homeowners, people who own their home, and I'd say the most of the time 35 plus people who are homeowners are on Facebook. They're browsing the internet. If they need things, they're usually looking up things online or they're on Facebook. So for like a lawn care business, the best places to be are, on Google, making sure you're showing up on Google and also making sure you're running ads either on Google or Facebook because that's where those people are looking. So there's definitely a lot of good information there. So what surprised you most when you started your business about business? What took you off guard when you started a business that you really didn't expect?
Probably all the I would say all the little pieces that go into it. There's a lot of little things you got to cover with a business, especially trying to run one by myself. I see how it's hard to do it just by myself with marketing itself, handling people, actually getting out to doing a job. It's kind of hard to do 2 or 3 or 4 things at once, and I haven't even like fully started yet. So I see like all the little things that
Are going to start taking up a lot of time.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They just take up a lot of time, and there's like a lot of little things that have to be covered. And if they kind of just go unattended, then it just kind of pulls the business in one direction, if it's positive or negative. So you definitely
Yeah.
just got to keep your business groomed and kept and stuff like that. And hiring people and getting people to help you out is actually really good. So that was probably like one of the hardest things, was knowing how much is going into it.
Yeah. I feel like when I was younger, a lot of people would always make business, like being in business, make it sound like, it's the easy path. Like, starting a business means you get to work your own hours. You get to work your own hours. You get to work whenever you want. You get to be lazy. And I don't know why that's always assumed, but when you start a business, especially in the early days of being in a business, you get to work your own hours, but it's 5 times more hours than you would normally work at a normal job. So, I mean,
Exactly. Yeah,
they
it takes
they
a
are
good bit of
right.
time.
They are right when they say you get to work your own hours on your own time, but that ends up being all your time and all your hours. So, that's
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
something I didn't expect in starting a business is just how much time it actually takes up out of every single day. It's not just like in general, every day your time is being taken. I mean, once you actually get your business rolling and you're getting work, when you have to actually be on jobs as well as dealing with employees, as well as dealing with, taking phone calls, new leads coming in as far as doing your own
Yeah.
marketing, keeping your own books. I mean, there's a whole thing in just making sure I mean, I would spend like an hour a day just in spreadsheets taking, keeping track of who's all paid, who hasn't paid, man, and then taking calls from customers who are complaining, taking calls from customers with questions. I mean, it's just like when it's all you,
Yeah, I believe it.
it's 15 hours a day, no matter what. So
Mm,
I would say
yeah, I believe
definitely
that.
it's very, people don't really expect how many hours you have to work starting a business. And I feel like a lot of people think it's a lot less than it really is, when in reality, it's way more. I mean, once you get a business started and out there, there's definitely ways to start delegating that time. You could hire people such as like salespeople. You can hire a marketing agency. You can hire
Right.
people to take your calls. You can hire all sorts of people to start taking some of that time off. But as your business grows, there's just new things that take your time. So it's definitely a lot of time to spend in business. And if you're not ready for that, you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you like to clock in at 9 and clock off at 5 and go home and enjoy yourself and not think about work, you would not want to start a business, because you're always
It
thinking
ain't for
about it.
you.
You're always thinking about it 24/7 when you own a business. You don't get to clock off. You're always on unless you're sleeping. And sometimes you even dream about work. Had many
Right.
dreams digging holes and building fences. So I don't
Same
ever
here.
seem to.
I've had many dreams where I crashed drones. I've crashed a lot of drones in my dreams.
Yeah, I mean, not many
So
people working, at Walmart are like dreaming about, doing Walmart things. I mean, if you are, I'm really sorry for you, but most
yeah,
people aren't.
honestly.
Most people get to go home and not even think about anything Walmart is doing. But if you
Mm.
own Walmart, you're always thinking about what Walmart's doing. So
One more what's
there's just
going
a
on, yeah.
they're just a little different. So my next question for you is, how are you currently marketing and advertising Anderson Airborne?
So I'm currently marketing and advertising it just by going around, and I have some business cards. I just go around to local businesses and I just kind of hand them out, give them a little pitch, let them know what I offer and that I'm doing it for discounted rates because I'm kind of starting out. I could be leveraging my social medias a lot more because, like I said, people just eat up drone photography and videography. So that'd be a good way to do it. I would get referrals. I've gotten a couple referrals from jobs that I've done for free. So that's always like a good classic one, is just getting referrals. And
So how is the passing out business cards to local businesses? How has that been working out for you? Has it been, like, what's your current rate of closing these businesses? Are you going to 10 and getting one, going to 50, getting one? How's that been working out for you?
so it's been going, man. I mean, it's not like the easiest thing. I just kind of started out. I would I would just basically just hand them the card and let them know what I do, and they took it, but I haven't had any calls. That's a brand new strategy. I just kind of came up with that. No new calls. I say I handed out like 20 cards, gave them to like 20 separate businesses. So now that I think about it, not too good. Maybe not the best strategy, but it's something, Maybe somebody will throw it on the ground and then somebody walks by, picks it up, and they'll be the one who calls me or something like that.
Do you ever think
So
that maybe you should like add maybe a little bit of selling as you're passing out the cards? Maybe do more than just passing out the cards, and maybe just actually try to get them to agree to something there.
I never thought about making them say anything on spot. I just gave them the card and let them toss it around, and then I just left. So no, I haven't thought of that.
Definitely might be a thought. It's definitely pretty difficult to try to sell in person. It's one of the hardest skills to have, obviously, selling
Yeah,
in person. But something like that, they'll probably, especially if you're not talking to the person in charge, they're just going to throw that card aside. And
yeah.
you'll probably never get to the
That's
person on top. So you definitely might want to consider trying to at least get into contact with the person on top. Either ask for, a name or a number, even a name, and then you could maybe find them some other way and get into contact with them.
yeah, it's smart.
So
It's a good one.
how have you decided on pricing your services, and how have you come to that price?
So I've been looking around at my competition in my area. A good bit of drone photographers and real estate drone photographers and just drone photographers in general. I see their pricing. It's like 200 for a package, and these are pretty full-fledged businesses. They've been going on for a while, and they can kind of get away with $200 for per shoot and stuff like that. Me, I kind of have no portfolio. I just offer discounted prices and do just random shoots for free just so I can build my portfolio. But for my discounted rates, I give off $45 per shoot. And I just came up with that because way less than 200, and I don't want to do it for free. It's a little bit above free, so I'm getting photos out of it and like some gas money and stuff. So that's how I came up with 45. I know it's a random number, but that's mine.
Yeah. So how long does, a general shoot take you between like going and shooting it and editing afterwards and all that?
Right. So I've had like 3 like official jobs. They probably take me, I'd say, depending on how far it is, my furthest shoot was like 50 minutes away. So we'll take the 50, and then it probably took me like an hour to shoot, just to get a bunch of angles and take pictures and stuff like that. And like the drive back, it's like 2.5 hours in total just from the drive there, the shoot, the drive back. And then editing depends on your footage and your photos and stuff like that. But it doesn't take any more than like 30 minutes. You just kind of put some nice colors on there and trim it up and put it together, and you just put it in a file and send it to them. I'd say it probably takes, if you were to just knock it out like consistently, it'd take like 3 hours, 4 hours,
Okay,
depending
and
on how far you
that's
gotta drive.
and that's with a
Yeah,
long drive.
yeah,
So I'd say $200 is definitely a fair price for that. If you're doing a normal
yeah,
size drive, doing the shoot, going home editing it, and it takes 2 hours, I would say $200 is definitely fair. I think for most industries, I mean, there's a lot of differences, obviously, depending on the
for
specialty of
sure.
work. But for like medium specialty work, so kind of what you do, what I do, usually about $100 an hour is pretty safe bet. Most industries are around at that price. So fencing work, painting work, media work like photography, usually $100 an hour is a pretty good price to end up at.
Okay.
Or even a business like you could do pay per video or pay per photo. So you could shoot them for 2 hours and you could charge them $15 a picture. And maybe by the end of that, they like one of the pictures and you actually make
Yeah,
$300. So it could be even an opportunity to make extra money if you charge by the video or by the picture, because you could go out there and only spend an hour shooting and go edit them and then show them like 50 pictures that you took and edited, and they could actually like 20 of them, and you could make
true.
extra money there just by charging differently. So
I've
definitely
seen
a lot
that
of ways to
before
charge.
as well. I've seen that before as well, where they charge per I think it's like 15 photos or something like that, and a couple videos. So they'll charge like 200 a package. And then I've also seen other real estate photographers and drone photographers charge by square foot. So I'd have to figure that out if I ever do that.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it
Mm,
seems like you've made the right choices as far as, looking at your competition, because that's the best way to understand your pricing and what you can
for
get to.
sure.
I would say for anybody listening who's either in business or looking to start, a good way to figure out your pricing to start with is to figure out what your competition is charging. And for businesses like lawn care, you don't really need to start free. Like there's definitely industries where there's a lot of industries where starting free is good. Like anything with photography or videography, you obviously need to build up a good portfolio to say I know how to take a good picture and a good video. But as far as mowing a lawn, that's not very hard. It's really just about getting it done. So there's definitely industries where you don't need to start free, but there's definitely a lot where you need to, such as the one you're in. So
Very true.
okay. What advice would you give someone looking to start their own media business, as in photography or videography, kind of the thing you're in?
I would say definitely know what you're doing. Look up certain courses and stuff. You can look up just free information on YouTube in general. There's endless amounts of information on drone photography in general. There's endless amounts of information on real estate photography in general. Definitely get good, trusted sources of information. If you have anybody that you know that does drone photography or something like that, then ask them. There's no pain in asking, just getting a hold of somebody and saying like, hey, what should I know? And then just get ready for the ride. Like I'm so fresh into starting my business and getting some traction with it, but it's been an everyday thing, and I think about it often, and you have to think about it often for it to thrive. You got to feed the business. So get ready to put in a lot of time into it and stuff. And you got to keep a unique perspective, stay creative. What makes you different? That's something you should ask yourself often, especially with videography and photography, is you have to have a creative perspective and you have to be different. and you have to catch people's eyes. I would say that, but the biggest one is just figure out what you're doing, know how to do it, and don't stop.
Kind of going into that, what do you think is like your biggest strength, or what's helped you the most in getting started? Where have you kind of had an edge as far as starting your business?
I would fall back on my resources. I do have one friend of mine. I have two friends of mine. I got Ryan right here who helps me out with my business, and we've talked about marketing and stuff like that. And then I have another friend of mine who, he tells me a good bit of stuff about online businesses, and then just the internet. You can just find information on the internet about just what you do in general. I think I'm pretty good at flying a drone, and I think I'm pretty good at getting good shots. I remember on my Instagram, I don't have a whole bunch of content on there, but it started out slow, and then I went to a car meet, made a good video with the cars, and then just, if you make it look good, like, people will come to your content and it'll just be automatic. I'd say my strength is definitely my creativity. I think I can make some good videos, and I'm good at flying too.
So how do you plan on, so since your strength is like the actual business part, so actually creating the videos, shooting the videos, how do you plan on actually scaling your business on the business side if that's not your necessary strength?
Right. Yeah, I asked myself that. Just basically going and finding people who can help me out with answers like that. There's a story that I like from a book that I like called Think and Grow Rich, and in that book, he tells a story about Henry Ford and how they took him to court or something like that. He was uneducated or something like that, and they were asking him a bunch of stupid questions about like the war and stuff like that. And he looked at whoever was asking him questions and said, "Hey, I have a bunch of red push buttons on my desk, and if I push one, I can get whatever piece of information I'm asking about from somebody who knows that." He said, "Why would I clutter my mind with general knowledge when most of my efforts is going towards like specialized knowledge," which was him building cars.
No, I think that's really important. I think it's really important finding, what your specific strength is and not trying to overextend yourself. I think it's really important to know exactly where in the business you're going to succeed the most, and wherever you think that is where you should be. And every other part of your business should be either outsourced, or you should be getting a lot of help in that part of the business from someone who is really good at that. For example, like, I'm really good at the marketing side of things and like the branding. I'm really good at making my business look good online, but I'm not necessarily as good at specifically running Google ads. Like, that's not my specialty.
Yeah.
So me personally, in my business, I've hired a marketing agency because they specialize in running Facebook and Google ads. So that's just an example of, this is what I'm good at. Since I'm not good at this, I need to find someone who is, and they need to become that in my business. Another example of this is I hate taking phone calls for my business. It's just not what I like to do. It's not what I'm good at. And it's not, if I'm in charge of taking the phone calls, it's either not going to get done, or it's not going to be done good enough. And I understand that. And it's really important that you can just understand where in your business that you're not good at, or you're not willing to be good at, so you can move it on to someone else who is going to be good at it and spend all their time on it. So I think that's actually a really good story.
What I was getting around to.
Yeah, that's a really good story, because
if you don't totally know yourself, that's okay. Yeah.
Well,
if you don't totally know yourself, I think that's okay. There's a lot of different people that know that type of stuff, and I can focus on having a creative perspective and making sure I get the best image on film, and then I can toss the editing up to somebody else who does editing, who sits down and edits for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or more. And if I want to do some marketing, I can just toss it over to somebody who does marketing, who sits down and does marketing for 10 hours a day. It's good to have a team, that's for sure. Have people who know what to do, especially if you're not too good at a certain field in business. In most businesses, there are like several different sections, and they all run something different.
I would only counter that to say that, especially if you're like the top owner, if you're really the one who owns the company, it's really important that you do have a good understanding of everything going on. So it would be important that you at least know, what Facebook ads are, what goes into them, maybe even know how to make one yourself, but maybe you don't know how to make them the best. And it's definitely important to know, I do like to know still, what to say on the phone to people, because there might be a situation where I do have to do it, and I still need to have at least a basic understanding and some proficiency at it, but it doesn't mean you have to be the best. You shouldn't be spending all your time.
I agree with that.
You shouldn't be spending all your time in your business on something that it's not your best trait. Those things should be given to masters of those other traits. So there should be every business needs to have a master marketer, a master sales guy, a mastermind. Every business needs a mastermind. That's usually the business owner should usually be the mastermind, and the other mastery outlets should go to other people who are good at those things. So I think that's super important.
I agree.
Well, I think that's all we're going to have today. I think we pretty much covered, your whole business, and I think we're all really excited to see, what you end up with it. We'll probably have to interview you again, probably at the end of the year and see what you've done this year. So I guess leave us with, your year goals. What do you want to get done this year?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year, especially. I kind of just really picked back up on the entrepreneurship, uh, during the start of 2025. My goals for this year are definitely get better at just what I'm doing in general. And then I want to add on virtual touring with the first person drones. I know people eat that up, so that's one of my goals. I want to add that on to the branch. And then I'll go.
So what specifically, how about you give us a dollar amount you're looking to hit by the end
Yeah, I
of
was
this
gonna
year?
get to that. So I'd at least like to start making 10,000 a month. I don't have like a necessary like sum of money I want to have. I want to start making 10,000. I want to get the business to $10,000 a month by the end of this year.
Okay.
It's
Definitely
a
a
big
really hefty
chew, but
goal. It's definitely a
yeah,
very
it's a big
hefty
chew.
goal. But I definitely think you can do it. But
Mm.
that's going to require, that goal specifically is going to require a lot of work. Especially if you want to get it done this fast by the end of this year, you definitely are going to have to work really hard on that probably every single day to make that happen.
Yeah.
Especially in your business, you don't get, a lot of repeat customers. To get $10,000 a month means you've got to be finding a lot of people all the time to be wanting your service, which is definitely
Mm.
possible. There's probably a lot of people looking for it. And that may even require you to expand your business into maybe other types of photography, maybe even just an actual camera. So, but I definitely think that's a really good goal for you. $10,000 a month's really nice feeling when you finally get there. And it does take a lot of work, but once you get there, it only shows you how hard it is to keep going. It's really hard to keep up with $10,000 a month. Even once you get it, you got to work very hard to keep it.
Yeah.
So
Maintaining it.
we appreciate you coming on, Aaron, especially me. This is very
Yeah.
early in this podcast, so this is definitely you're going to be you're the first interview guest, not the last, but the
There we
first
go.
one. I'm hoping this podcast gets 10,000 viewers a month by the end of this year. That's
I'm
my
with
goal
that,
for
bro.
this.
I'm with that.
So this guy right here is one of probably the first listeners ever. I think I called him before I even started about the name of this thing. So
Yeah.
now he's a good friend, and glad he was able to come on today and talk about his business, because I'm always excited to talk about every business and especially his. Um,
Right.
so
Yeah.
$10,000 a month by the end of the year, I think that's a great goal, and we'll definitely come back to that by the end of the year and give you another interview and see if by then you'll be wearing a suit with a nice watch on.
A little something, better than
Yeah,
the shirt and the cross I got on right now. So,
no,
yeah,
nothing
I
better than that.
appreciate you having me on. I'm really excited. I'm excited for this podcast. I'm excited for my business. I'm really excited to get back on here and let everybody
Yeah.
know what I've been doing throughout the year, because I'm a man of my word. I really am going to try my best. I might not get to 10,000 a month by this year, but if I just go balls to the wall, we'll see how far I get.
Well, by the end of the year, we'll check back in, probably ask some of the same questions and see if you have any new answers as far as, what's
Yeah.
going strong, what marketing techniques are working, and probably by then you'll definitely have a good idea on what's working or not. So that's super
Yeah.
excited. So this is actually the first time I'm going to ask this at the end of a podcast episode, because I keep forgetting. But if you did get this far, please rate the podcast. You just have to go in and click a button and give it a 5-star. That does help a lot. I haven't asked before because I actually didn't know it was a thing. But now that I know it's a thing, please do it. Whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you're listening on, do leave it a 5-star review if you're listening. And do feel free to leave a comment as well. I definitely will be looking at them and maybe give me some ideas for, the future podcast episodes. I think next week I'll be doing another interview with actually the owner of the marketing company who works for me. He's a really young guy. His name's Sam. He's 21 years old, and he's actually has a fairly successful marketing company already. I'm actually one of his first clients, but he's doing a really good job, and he'll also have some really good information as far as being a young entrepreneur like us, and just how it's going. So Thank you guys for watching this episode, and thanks, Aaron, for joining us and letting us know your story.
Gotcha, brother. I appreciate you.
And that'll be it right there.
Sweet.